What is going on YouTube? My name is Mo and welcome to another exciting tutorial. Today we're going to talk about the Godox AD300 Pro and why this is going to be my favorite strobe. Right after the intro. Hey, welcome back. Now, before heading out to the shoot and showing you the shoot and how it was shot, let me answer some of your questions that I've received on Instagram, shall we? All right, let me tell you why I opted into getting the AD300 Pro. And mainly because I wanted something that is compact, small, yet powerful. And I think they have nailed it. Godox have actually got me there. And oh yeah, it's very important to note the price factor here. This is a strobe that is less than $500 or approximately about $500. And when you compare this to other strobe brands, then this is a no-brainer. Now, if you look at the size and weight of this strobe, it sits somewhere between the AD200 and the AD400, although it kind of shorter than the AD200, but kind of wider. But it kind of fits in there between. It's like a sweet spot between power and size. Now, according to the reviews, the AD300 is half a stop stronger than the AD200 and half stop less than the AD400. So it kind of fits in between. Again, that has that argument. Now, believe it or not, the AD300 comes in with a bicolor LED modeling lamp. And while it's only 12 watts strong, I mean, this is incredible. It's there when you need it, all in that compact, small size strobe. Now, the battery gives you around 320 full power flashes. And this is the new battery. The AD200 battery and the AD300 battery, they look the same, but this is quite different. And the AD300 actually backward compatible with the AD200 Pro batteries. And that's a good thing, because if you have the AD200 batteries or you have the AD200 strobe, that means that you can actually use that battery as an additional battery. All right, so to sum it up, I opted in for this flash because 1, size, 2, the power output, 3, the price. And I don't think you'll find anything comes close to this in the market right now. All right, enough of this. Let's move to the shoot. Now, here's a misconception or a wrong way to approach a photo shoot. You know, you position the car the way you want it. You set your focal length, you set your shutter speed, the environment and the lighting, and then you set the, you know, the power on the flash and you click, and then you get a kind of a dark photo. But let's roll back. Why did we even select F11? Why did I even select F9 or F, God knows? What is the science behind you choosing an f-stop? And I'll tell you why, because aperture or f-stop directly affects the power of the flash. So keep this in your mind. Always when you approach a strobe photo shoot, shutter speed affects the environment lighting, aperture affects the strobe flash lighting. All right, so let me play this quick video. I use an app called PhotoPills, and it helps me determine the best f-stop in a situation. Let me roll this out. So as you can see, I have the classic depth of field, and that will determine the total depth of field required for this shoot. I've set the focal length at 50. And the f-stop, I'm going to show you actually how to determine the f-stop, or what f-stop I'm going to use. And this is where the subject sits, and it's about 8 meter, well, it was about 9 meter away from the car, but I kept it at 8. And then it calculates the total depth of field. So the total distance from here to 12.18 meters is the total depth of field that I have, the things that will be in focus during the shoot. And it's very important to know that in front of the subject, it will be 2.8 meters and then 9.38 meters behind the subject. So let me pull that out. And as you can see, I'm gonna go with F4 just to prove that you don't need F9, F11. And this is beautiful because they have the AR, augmented reality, and here it shows you where the subject is, where the subject will be in focus, and how far actually in front you'll have the focus to start from. So things will be in focus from here to here, and then it's gonna go all the way 12 meters to the back, and this is more than I actually need. I mean, I could have dialed down, but I also wanted to make sure that I do have a bit of the foreground in focus. And you can tell once we start going off away, things starts to get blurry, but then things starts to get acceptably sharp from this area towards our subject. And that's, my friends, why we don't always need to shoot at F9, F10, F11. I know we randomly set this because, you know, we're afraid of not getting the subject into focus, but, you know, using a depth of field calculator similar to this one and augmented reality will make things really great for you. And actually, if you put, you know, the focal length at F8, then you get infinity. Kind of focus behind the subject. Now I hope I'm not confusing you with my depth of field and f-stop relation, but this directly affects the strobe power. So I don't need to put the strobe on full power just to satisfy that f-stop. Instead, I selected the appropriate f-stop or aperture and set my strobe power appropriately. Now, if you have any questions, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Okay, so moving onward, I'm going to lay over some of the footage of that shoot so you know, you have an idea about what I'm talking about. Once I've figured out the f-stop, I have actually started playing out with the output of the strobe until I have found something that I like. And then I started moving the strobe the classic way of me doing it, right? So I would move the strobe about a step every time. So I go back and forth moving the strobe and then click, click. And then of course I would get the wheels, the front and the back wheels exposure. And I just wanted to get, you know, a ground exposure just in case, you know, I wanted to use that as a base. Now I do shoot a lot, so, you know, when I'm back into Photoshop and I really needed an extra layer to work with, I'm gonna have something appropriate to show. Now in terms of strobe power, this was set at 1/8 of the power of the strobe, and as you can tell, it's really enough to light up the car, so we're not even using the entire power of the strobe. So now I looked at these photos and I was like, what if I could actually maybe raise the flash a bit higher and raise the power, put the flash back more, and grab just one exposure that I can work with, and instead of me stitching all of these photos together. And what do you know, I got this straight out of the camera, and I've also set the f-stop to f.6 just to prove that, you know, you can actually get a lot out of this compact or small flash. Oh, by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on videos similar to this one. And additionally, make sure to subscribe to my newsletter, because I'm going to put all of these in a folder and I'm going to share it in my next newsletter release. And that will allow you to work with these photos, maybe share them with me on Instagram, and I'll let you know what I think of it. Guys, believe it or not, it literally took me about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to get that out. So let's start with the base layer. And, you know, part of my process or workflow is to clean up the area around the car. There you go, before and after. And then I added one single layer for the brake light exposure over here. I've actually set this to lighten and masked it out or in, and masked in the brake lights at the back, just to give it that nice kind of look and feel. And I've also, by doing so, I added more debris over here, and I created a new layer and just removed these, cleaned them out. I then added the dodge and burn. This is the actual burn layer. It's a curve, and I covered that previously in my tutorials. I did the same with the dodge, not much, just added a bit here and there. Then camera raw, the classic camera raw. I dropped the highlights because it was a bit hot over here, increased the whites just to bring the whites in the car, and I increased the clarity, added some sharpening as well, and added a bit of vibrance, removed a bit of the saturation, and yeah, that was about it. And I added a curve just to create that nice vignette effect, and I added hue saturation just to intensify the reds at the back over here. I felt the front was still overexposed, so I created a curve, dropped the matte tones a bit down, and then added the gradient, a bit of a gradient mask from left to right, just to bring that down. That's it in Photoshop. Let's move back to Capture One, show you the color grading part. Now you can do the same in Lightroom. I just been using Capture One, really kind of like it. I added a bit of blues into the shadows and a slight yellow green tint to the highlights, not much. And that was it, you guys. All right, YouTube, so we've reached the end of this tutorial, this video. Now, if you have any questions, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video.